Historical Outtakes. Karl Marx. A spectre is haunting Europe, but fear not, that dashing British chap Bond is on it. Karl Marx again. Religion is the opiate of the masses, whereas the Gothic novel is the sedative of the elite. George Santayana. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to miss the jokes. Julius Caesar. You had two brute, so what's with the steak knife? Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me a favorable capital gains tax rate. Abraham Lincoln. 7 1/4 dozen years ago, our fathers brought forth a new nation conceived in liberty and stuff, here, right here on this very continent. Abraham Lincoln. You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool... Wait, it's 21st century America? Never mind. And Lincoln again. A house divided against itself is my second favorite koan, right after the sound of one hand clapping. Zapatistas. Buena suerte, Zapata. George Santayana. Those who cannot remember the password are condemned to retrieve it from a drawer full of clutter. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is a continued erosion of public confidence in the banking system, and labor management violence, and class warfare, and widespread hunger due to unwise soil management practices, and race riots in our cities, and a Bolshevik-style revolution as in Russia, or the rise of fascism as in Germany and Italy, and fear itself, duh. Neville Chamberlain. I returned from Germany, bringing peace for hours at a time. Winston Churchill. I have nothing to offer in the way of pecuniary contributions to the war effort due to a temporary illiquidity of assets resulting from wartime conditions, but I'll gladly contribute all of the blood, toil, tears, and sweat I can. Winston Churchill. Now this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is, perhaps, roughly 4/5 of the way to the end of the beginning, more or less. And Churchill. Never have so many owed so much to so few as a result of the rapacious Labor Party's confiscatory tax policies. General Douglas MacArthur. BRB. Winston Churchill again. An iron curtain has descended across the continent, calling Slavic taste and design squarely into question. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. We must never negotiate out of fear, but we must never fear to negotiate out of doors in good weather. United Farm Workers. Es posible, no? George Santayana. Those who cannot remember the past are likely products of the American educational system. Martin Luther King. I have a dream that one day all of God's children, and yes, of course, all children of atheists, and children who are atheists themselves, a dream that all of God's children, and all atheist children, and of course all children of any sexual orientation whatsoever, including ones I haven't heard of yet, and naturally all differently abled children, and all abled children to be sure, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, black men and white men, and yes, absolutely, black women and white women too, and red men and women, and brown men and women, and yellow men and women. I have a dream that all of God's children, and all atheist children, and all... Ronald Reagan. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall and plant a rose garden. Yes, of course, red. A water feature in statuary would be nice too. George Santayana. Those who cannot remember the past are the majority of modern voters, and I'm furious.